Hi, this is Michael William Denny of thundershamanism.com. So today we're going to continue with another chapter in the book, Thunder Wizard Path. Is that how it's the Thunder Wizard Path? So if you're not familiar with this book, or if you haven't watched it, you can go back and watch the other videos if you want about this book. This is my most popular book. This was my second published book ever. The first one in all of my Teutonic shamanic spirituality books. So I want to talk to you about a chapter called Thor's Belt, and this was I've just gotten used to all this stuff and I take it for granted now, but going back and looking at the book, I'm realizing that I was making connections between spiritual disciplines, and it was incredibly exciting for me. And the reason why it was so exciting is because it was proving to me on a deeper level that mythology, spirituality, shamanism, when you're connected to a tradition that goes back to prehistory, you realize that these are sciences that people were either learning on their own, or that the celestial masters were teaching all of the tribal people all over the world at the same time, and they were learning it in their own language and their own culture and their own mythology. So there's a myth about Thor and his belt. So as you know, Thor is the master of thunder and lightning, which means the master of life force energy. It also means the master of magnetic energy. And so he has a belt called meginjord, which means belt of power. And it also has the connections to the earth as well. So it could be, earth belt. But in any case, Thor's belt, when he puts it on, it doubles his strength. If he doesn't have his belt on, then he only has half of his strength. So in mythology, all of these symbols have an esoteric meaning. Now, for the average person, they hear it and it's interesting. It's like reading comic books and, oh, he's got a magic power belt and he puts on his belt. It's like, Popeye eating spinach, So for them, that's fine. But for the people that were actually studying, for those that were shamans or wizards, the wizards would teach them what this symbolic meaning was and how to practically apply it and to increase their energy. So what that myth says is that if you empower this part, this belt, around your navel and around your back, if you learn how to harness that power, it will double your strength. It will make you much more powerful. So as it turns out, the navel center is where we process all of our energy work. So this is most seen most powerfully still in Chinese practices. In martial arts, what do you see? You see the Kung Fu masters with these big white sashes around their midsection, but even when you go into pretty much any traditional culture that still has, clothing that goes back to ancient times, you'll see people wear these big belts around their midsection, including the Europeans. They wore these big leather belts, and it wasn't about holding your pants up. The belts we have now are about holding your pants up or holding them down, depending on, whether or not you want to keep your pants down or up. But originally the belt went around the midsection. Now, the midsection here, you've got the navel center, which, as I said, is the cauldron. It's where, when you do energy work through breath, you breathe into the navel. There's a reason why you breathe from the navel, because it pulls all of the energy into the navel, and the navel has the ability then to process that life force energy and then send it, into all the different meridians. If the energy is intense, it processes it so that the nervous system and the energy body can absorb it. And so you've also got, besides the navel, you've also got the kidneys in the back. And again, the Chinese have this one master. They keep the kidneys warm because it's the kidneys and the adrenal glands that have a very special function when it comes to energy work. That's why martial artists put on that sash, whether they realize it or not, and most of them actually do. is that because they're doing energy work and they're harnessing the power of their navel center, their kidneys, and their adrenals, and they're keeping it warm and keeping it safe. So our ancestors knew this as well, because Thor, the master of energy, he had a belt that he wore around his navel center. You know, even like, you know, you get a UFC belt, or you get, you know, a belt in boxing, is the same thing. You know, these people who represent power and strength have these big giant belts. So this is what meginjord is all about. So in the book, Thor's Belt, I teach an energy practice called meginjord, and I won't go into it here now, but you can go ahead and get the book, and it shows you exactly how to do that. And I think there may be a video. I know I've got at least a couple of videos on there with Thor's Belt. If I find it, I'll put a link to it. But at the very least, you can get the book and you can practice it. So that's it for now. That's Thor's Belt. So if you're interested in learning real powerful energy practices, I suggest Celestial Qigong, the most powerful practice I have. And it works very well with the Thunder Path. And if you're really interested in learning to master energy, you really want to learn how to get energy coming out of your hands, master the 5 elements, I suggest that you work with me personally. And so there's a link down here for apprenticeship. I've talked about that at length. But, you know, basically all apprenticeship means, don't get all bent out of shape over the name apprenticeship. All it means is that you work with me 1 hour a week, one-on-one, whether by phone, Skype, or in person. And, you know, you can learn. It gives me an opportunity to teach you specifically tailored for you in ways that you can't get out of a book or a DVD or something like that. So there's that. Until next time, my friends.